And welcome back to 33 hours into this week's fast. That's right, 33 hours. That's where I am right now. If you're here, it means that you've shown up for yourself, you've shown up for your body, you've shown up for your health, and your body is already responding. Hey, I am in the process right now of righting my metabolism, improving my insulin resistance, and reversing those disease processes we talk about. You know, one of the things that I love is when I talk to patients, when I talk to clients in my day. I have so much fun going in and having conversations because sometimes the light goes off in their mind and I could see in their eyes where they are finally making connections. I often talk about the grandfather who wanted to teach his grandson how to fish, who came in excited because now he was taking charge of his health and he was going to be healthy. He was going to do all the things that he needed to do for his health. Here's the chick. Here's the thing. His grandson was only 2 days old. That's right. But he was anticipating what it was going to be like to be around for that grandchild. He was anticipating being able to teach this skill, this thing that he's enjoyed, to his grandson, and he wanted to make sure that he was taking charge of his health and his life, avoiding complications, and going to the next level. And that's what we're doing right now. We are 33 hours in, using fasting as one of those tools that's going to help us with that. Hey, if you're new to me, I'm Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. Here I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life, avoid complications, go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted, and we are living limitless lives. I am here to help you live a long, healthy life so you can show up for all those things that you want to do, for all those people in your lives that are so important. If you're new, go ahead and put new in the comments because I'd love to welcome you with a hand clap and some music. That's right, let you know that I am excited that you're here. If you have questions, go ahead and put those questions in the comments and make sure you put a Q in front of them so we know that that's something that we need to get to. Got some good things that we're going to be taking a look at here in just a minute. I've got my monitor. Actually, why don't we do that? I've got my monitors off to the side. We'll take a look at my Keto Mojo and my Contour. And of course, right down below me, that is my Dexcom Clarity Report that we'll take a look at to see what's been going on since we started our fast on yesterday. So whatever platform you are on, thank you for coming through. Wherever you are, go ahead and drop that in the comments because we want to give you a shout out, whether you're here in the United States or whether you're overseas. We've got some folks in New Zealand. We've got South Korea, which I see online right now. We've got some folks in London. And of course, here I've got people in Alabama, which is where I am. Got people in Ohio and Pennsylvania and New York and Florida and Texas and Nebraska. All right. And so we just want to welcome you. And of course, Georgia, let me not skip you guys. But wherever you're from, go ahead and drop that in the chat so that we can say hello to you. And then if you are fasting, if you started your fast today, I want you to go ahead in the chat and I want you to put me, right? Just drop me, right? So those of you who started your fast today, when we did our pop-up live right around 1:30 or so, those of you who are now fasting and you're going to end your fast tomorrow at 24 hours, go ahead and drop that in the comments. And then let's go ahead. I want to play for you the promo for our MOVE campaign. Remember, metabolic optimization via exercise, one of those pillars that is so essential for our health. Let's go ahead and let's look at that right now. Welcome to MOVE, Metabolic Optimization via Exercise. This isn't just about workouts. It's about moving your body, moving your habits, and moving your life forward. Each episode builds consistency, strength, and resilience step by step. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, and together we're writing the story of health, transformation, and limitless living. This is MOVE. Let's get started. So if you've not joined us yet, make sure you do that. We are continuing that process because it's an integral part of our metabolic improvement. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's take a look at some blood sugars and some other things here. So let me hop over and let's start out with, this is my Freestyle Libre, and you see right there that it says that my blood sugar right now is 65. All right, 65 is where we are. If we scroll down right here at this graph, you'll see that for most of the afternoon, I've been in the red, and that red means that I'm below 70. For the white part of that graph, that is above 70, and so we've been kind of below 100 for sure for the entire day, for the entire 12 hours, and then below 70 is where you see the red part. What I love about this, I can also go over and look at my reports, my time in range, and I can see that for 7 days, 14 days, 30 days, of course, 90 days. And we're looking at these numbers right here in the middle, 93% in the green, and then down below you'll see 6% in the red, and then 1% in the really, really, really red. But that adds up to 100. The red parts that you're seeing there are usually what happens to my blood sugar when I fast. And so you saw just a little while ago that we were in the 60s, and whenever it's in the below 70, it shows up as red. But combined, 93% of the time in target, and then the rest of those in the red. If I look at the 14-day, 89%, 30-day, 84%, and then, of course, 90 days, 86%. Getting out of that report and then hopping over and looking at my average glucose, and you see my average blood sugar right in this line right here, 93 for the last 7 days, 14 days, 89, 30 days, 88, and then 90 days, 89. And what I love about this is I can actually look down here, and this breaks it out into the different times of the day. So I can pinpoint what's going on in my day and make decisions about what I'm going to do based on those blood sugars. And you see there it ranges anywhere from 85 to 95 is the highest that I see. But I love this view because it really gives me a lot of data that I can use for deciding what I'm doing for that day. Let's get out of that, and then let's take a look at my Dexcom. And so this is a Dexcom G7. And similarly, you see that my blood sugar right now, according to Dexcom, is 83. Once again, these monitors are allowed to be about 20% off from each other. So that's what you're seeing there. 60s for the Freestyle Libre, and then the Dexcom saying I'm 83. If I look at the 24-hour graph, I can put my finger there and kind of run through, and you see, looking at this graph down here, we've been kind of straddling in the 100s for most of the day. The low 100s, the highest it got there was like a 117, and then coming back down into the afternoon. And we'll take a look at my big graph and my report here in just a little while, so we can see what happened since I started fasting. Okay, and so we're in the 80s, 80s, 80s. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at what's going on with my monitors. And so for this, I'll need to grab my container. I've got a blue strip for Keto Mojo, actually a brown strip for Keto Mojo for this strip. For the blood sugar, I have a blue for the ketones. And what do you think my ketones are going to be, by the way? If you're out there, go ahead and drop that in the comments. I'm going to get a couple of Lancets. Move this off to the side. And then I also need to get a strip for the contour. So let's get that one out. And get that right in here. All right, so that's the contour. I'm going to go ahead and open up, get these guys off the screen there. Open this up, and this is the blood sugar strip for the Keto Mojo. And at the same time, I'm going to open up the ketone strip because that's the one that usually gives me some trouble, right? So I'm going to open it up and just have it off to the side. And so that's ready. Okay, and then now, this says error, so let me get that out. I may have pushed that in too quickly. Let's see. All right, there we are. And so here is my Lancet. And as you know, I don't use a lancing device. I just have the Lancet. I take that off. I've been kind of picking on this finger, so let's go ahead and keep that up and get a finger prick there. And ow, 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 ow. That should give us a good brisk, yep, there it is. A good brisk drop. Get that started, get the contour going. And I'm gonna go ahead and put this back up on the screen so you can see how they compare. So the Keto Mojo says 78, the contour says 75, and you'll see right there that the Dexcom says 85. And then if we scroll back to the Libre, I think the Libre is the odd man out. So because the others are, well, so this is what? 11 points away from each other. This is 12 points away from each other. And then this one, 5 plus, okay, so these, yeah, much closer, right, than the other. So let me go ahead and do this so that this drop doesn't dry. Get that off the screen. Take this one out, and let's get the ketone strip in. And I see somebody already guessing what they think my ketone is going to be. So let's go ahead and get that started. And yeah, there we go. And so 33 hours into this week's fast, let's see what that gives us. And 3, 2, 1, and 0.6. 0.6 is where we are. And let's go ahead, and I'm going to grab my Keto Mojo app and go ahead and get that synced. And so remember, when we talk about ketones, ketones that are less than 0.5 are considered normal. 0.5 to 1.5 considered nutritional ketosis, and then above 1.5 considered therapeutic ketosis. And so right now, I'm in the nutritional ketosis, and let me go ahead and change this view. And let's take a look at those numbers. And so we're looking at this big number here and the 2 that's in those boxes. That big number, that's my glucose ketone index. And my glucose is 78 and ketones are 0.6. And so for that, the glucose ketone index, we want that to be as low as possible, with glucose that's low normal and ketones that are high. So if you're doing a ketone or fasting mimicking diet, or a ketogenic diet, or you are fasting with the intention of going into ketosis, you want that number to be 0.5 or higher. And that's where we are right now. Come on back as we continue into this fast. And so right now we're 33 hours. Tomorrow we'll do our pop-up at 48 hours in the afternoon, and then 56 hours we'll do our check-in tomorrow evening. So make sure you come out and join us for that. And now let's go ahead and take a look at blood sugars as it relates to my report. And this is my Dexcom Clarity Report. And right now you see, according to Dexcom, my average glucose is 111, and that's 14 days, with being in range 95% of the time, range being anywhere from 70 to 180, and my glucose management indicator, this is a surrogate for the A1C, is a 6.0. So if I were to get an A1C, I would expect it to approximate a 6.0, okay? And then going and looking at the 90-day average, 116, and we usually tell people we want the average to be between 100 and 120, and so that's in keeping with what we say we're looking for. Once again, 98% in target being anywhere from 70 to 180, and glucose management indicator in this case is a 6.1. Now let's take a look at the actual blood sugars, and I love this one because what we want to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to look back to see what's been happening with my blood sugars since I started the fast. That was yesterday. Okay, so we're going to take a look at that. If you did not see what I ate leading up to this fast, go ahead and on the YouTube channel, there's a playlist that's called This Week's Videos. And in this week's videos, you'll get to see one of the pop-ups that I did yesterday, and you get to see what I ate as my last meal before I got into the fast. And then you can compare that to what we're about to look at in terms of seeing what the blood sugars are doing. So let's take a look at here. And so I started the fast right in here yesterday with a blood sugar right in about 107, 108. That's where I started the fast. And then once again, go back and see what I ate. And so 1 hour later, we're 113, 112, 110, 108. And look at that, the blood sugar is going down. So 100, 99, 100, and we're kind of straddling that 100 mark. We drop down to 98 right there, 102, 101. And so here at this point, we are about 10 hours into the fast, right? So we started at 108, down to 104, coming into this morning, 105, and kind of staying in that low 100s, dipping down just a little bit there to 91. And then right in here is what I call my toothpaste effect. You see how that, so we started in the low 100s, and then it went up to about 114, 112, 113, 120 was the highest that I saw there, 121. And then, just like we saw on the monitor itself, started coming back down, coming back down, coming back down, and now we're into the 80s and 90s, and to where we are right now, okay? So that is when you're fasting, that's what you want to happen. You want those blood sugars. You don't want a lot of fluctuations in the blood sugars based on what you're eating. And that's the whole idea of balanced bites, right? So we'll talk about that. Come on back on Friday where we do our complete review of fasting, where we talk about how to start the fast, that is how to prepare for it, how to get through the fast successfully, and then how to break the fast. And you get to see what I eat for the first time after 72 hours, okay? So to begin the fast, you saw what I ate to start the fast, and then you get to see what I eat as we end that fast. Awesome. All right. And then let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's take a look at, well, not take a look at, but let's get into our discussion for this evening as we talk about rhythm. Remember, rhythm is our theme for this week. Our show on Monday, go back and watch that as you get set for what we're discussing for the rest of this week. So that's the theme for the entire week, y'all. Rhythm, rhythm, rhythm. So let's go ahead and take a look at that right now as we get into our discussion. Tonight we're talking about finding your fasting rhythm. The moment when your body signals begin to keep the same time, when they are in sync. Not just burning fuel, but moving in a predictable pattern that you can trust. And that's the key. We are working to get our metabolism working in the right way. Remember, metabolism is that word that we use for how the body converts energy, or the food that we eat, into energy that it can use to run all the systems, your heart and your lung and your brain and your kidneys and so forth. And many of us have been in the space where our trust in our body has kind of lapsed, right? So our body is the cravings are there, so we don't trust that. We don't know whether if we do something, we're going to lose weight or we're going to put on weight. We don't know whether we're going to be tired, whether we're going to be able to sustain the things that we're doing. And so this concept of rhythm is important because it says to us that there are some predictable things that we can do, and those things will help us to move in the direction of being successful when it comes to our health. So here's the promise. When your hormones start firing on a schedule again, when the system is working, when the metabolism is righted, effort feels easier. It feels less like I'm fighting those cravings. It feels less like I'm pushing a boulder up the hill in my weight loss. It feels less like everything in my body is conspiring against me. We get more energy, more stable energy. That rhythm that happens as we fast, the rhythm that our body gets into, that metabolic flexibility as we talk about. That's rhythm. That's predictability. And fasting helps. Fasting helps you here. Fasting helps you to trust again. So what's going on? What's going on when we're at 33 hours? Well, a quick orientation. So remember, fasting is one of the pillars. One of the tools that we use. And fasting has an amazing way of writing some of the things that we are talking about that are causing dysfunction. So our appetite, fluctuations in our energy, our insulin resistance. And this is not just for diabetics. This is for everyone who has metabolic disease. The problem in metabolic disease, the underlying issue has to do, in the majority of cases, with insulin. So at 33 hours, most people have emptied their liver glycogen. Remember, the body stores energy in the liver, and they have switched. They're now burning fat for fuel. Because in order for the body to continue functioning, if the glycogen is gone, it has to get energy from somewhere, and that comes from the liver. Glucose jogs ketones out because glucose is dropping. Your body is not in crisis, it is in calibration. One of the big conversations I have with people is this idea that sometimes they'll feel those dips, and we'll talk a little bit about that here in just a little while. And they it's almost like they panic. We have gotten to the point where there are certain signals that the body gives and we misinterpret them. For example, growling in the stomach. When anyone hears growling, they're like, oh, I'm hungry. Well, no, growling simply means that my stomach is empty. And empty does not mean hunger. Empty means empty. But we've gotten so used to the stretch of the stomach that when we hear growling or we feel the growling, we associate that with hunger. And so what do? We go and we eat. So tonight's flow is simple. Hormonal timing. That's how insulin, cortisol, and growth hormones settle into a beat. We're going to talk a little bit about the inner design loop, that micro loop. That's the daily run sheet, if you will. We'll run through that, one phase of that. And we'll talk about a reflection, right? Something that we want to lock in on that is going to be our personal rhythm. So that's where we're heading. Well, let's talk a little bit about the hormones. The hormones and what's going on in the body. Hormone entertainment, when the hormones signals keep time. One of the things I love, and I've mentioned this, I've said this said this over and over, is I love to watch musicians. All right, I fancy myself a musician, but I love to watch them and I love to see what they do. And of course, my brain always goes to the bass line because I love the bass. I've got you guys can't see, I've got my bass off to the side here. And one of the things that I love to see is as they, one starts playing and then the other one comes in and it, somebody's hitting a key and, tapping out and finding the right note to find the right key. And then all of a sudden things begin moving. And it seems like they've been practicing together for a long time. And even musicians that have never played together, you put them together, and at first there's this cacophony of noises that may be going on, even in an orchestra, for example. And then all of a sudden, the melody begins going, and the chords are there, and the bass line picks up. And then all of a sudden, everybody's playing, and everyone is playing something different, but it's all working towards a particular goal. And that's what's going on in the body. Think of your hormones like a small ensemble. Early in the fast, the sounds are scattered. But by 30 to 36 hours, right, and we're 33 hours, they begin to entertain. They lock in on a common pulse. Insulin is low and steady. That unlocks stored energy without that roller coaster, because now our body is getting a good, stable source of energy as it's burning fat. Insulin is down, so our appetite is not stimulated. Come on. Because insulin stimulates appetite. Insulin stimulates the ability of the body to store rather than use energy. So anytime your insulin is up, whether you're diabetic or not, if you have hyperinsulinemia, then your appetite is stimulated and your weight is difficult to go down. In fact, the weight goes up. And people will say, well, I don't understand why my weight's going up, because I'm eating well, I'm eating right. Well, the problem is that the insulin is elevated, and so the insulin takes anything that you eat now. You can eat broccoli, salad, you can bite on celery sticks, and because the insulin is elevated, guess what? Here comes the weight. Glucagon is up just enough to cue the liver to mobilize fuel. Remember, insulin and glucagon go in opposite directions. When we're eating and there are carbs in our body, the blood sugar is elevated or high normal or normal, and the insulin is there because the insulin is going to bring the blood sugar down. When the blood sugar drops, insulin goes down, and when the insulin goes down, then the glucagon comes up. They can't exist in the same space at the same time. It's kind of like ketones and insulin also. During this process, growth hormone rises. A lot of people will talk to me and say, hey, I am losing muscle mass. I think if I fast, I'm going to lose muscle mass. Well, when we're fasting, not starvation, growth hormone goes up. And growth hormone is responsible for helping us to preserve muscle mass. It is a repair signal to the body that says, hey, for example, for people who are doing fasting workouts, the reason for doing a fasting workout is that your body recovers faster. The recovery time, right? Because when you're lifting, when you're strength training, you're actually tearing muscle tissue. And all of that improves faster if you're doing fasting workouts. Cortisol smooths out. Because remember, the initial parts of fasting are a bit of a stress, but when the body realizes, hey, we do this is what we do on a regular basis, now it becomes metabolically flexible. And the cortisol says, I don't have to go find fuel anymore. I'm calm, I'm steady, I'm safe. Because remember, that's what cortisol does. Cortisol goes and finds energy when it thinks that you're in danger so that you have enough energy to run or to fight. But if we're fasting and the cortisol begins to go down, it says, hey, I don't have to fight anymore. I'm calm. And I don't have to go get energy. So blood sugars begin going down. Ghrelin, which is the hunger hormone, stops spiking in waves. And so our appetite goes down. We don't feel like we're ravenous anymore. Leptin, which is the hormone that says I'm full, that goes up. And it sends a signal to the brain that says, hey, we don't have to eat. We're okay. We're calm. Keep it smooth now. Notice all of those hormones, those are hormones that are changing in our body. And when we're not in the fasting state, they're all doing different things and they're competing against each other and they're causing problems, because that's why people will say, man, it just feels like I'm hungry one time and then I'm okay and then my weight goes up and then I feel like I'm tired. And all of these things are coming together because there's dysregulation. But when we're in the fast, 33 hours, this is hormonal entertainment, not perfection, predictability. And predictability, conserves willpower. I don't have to fight it anymore. I don't have to put energy into deciding. I don't have to go through this loop that we have on a constant basis. Every time we are looking at some food, or every time we're thinking about exercising, or every time we're thinking about some stress, there's always this decision that we have to make. I'm not going to eat the food because I don't want to buffer, but it's going to make me feel good. Oh yeah, I'm not going to do that because they tell me it's not good for me, but oh, I wish I could do it. Right? All that. I tell people when I'm going into the fast, I get excited because the food noise goes away. Mhm. Predictability conserves willpower. I don't have to spend energy anymore fighting the food noise. When your body keeps time, when your body learns to be flexible, your mind stops firefighting. It doesn't have to put out any more fires. You don't need more motivation. You basically need a metronome. Remember, a metronome is what helps musicians keep in time. And fasting becomes that metronome for you. So, what does predictability feel like? Right? How does rhythm show up? What does that look like? Well, when it shows up, it signals that you're there. Energy is stabilized. It's not spiking. Focus is formed. It's not forced. Cravings come like tides, not like storms. You notice them, but they pass. The mood is quieter. Decisions feel simpler. That's the process. I liken this to, and I always talk about Tony Stark on the Avengers. And I like when you remember he's in the cave and he develops the crude arc reactor, and then he comes out, he got saved, and he's now going about his business, and he's working on designing a better version of it, version 2. And then, of course, he did a version 3, actually. And so he takes the first one out because his energy is there, but the energy from it, the stuff is actually poisoning him. And so he takes the first one out, and he gets the new one, and he puts it in, and he screws it in. And when he screws it in, he gets this energy surge that comes. And it is now a more consistent, purer source of energy. So remember, blood sugars fluctuate because you eat the thing, then the insulin comes out, insulin takes it, stores it in the liver, and then puts it in the cells, and then it has to go back and get it out and bring it into the body and then convert it into another form so that the body can use it. So there's always this up and down. That's why you eat something that is sweet and you get a burst of energy. Boom! And then it wears off and you crash. And then you eat something else, burst of energy. And then it wears off and you crash. But when we're burning fat for ketones, there is a pure, near constant source of energy that's coming through. And the body can use that, and it's not doing this anymore. It's not fluctuating. So the energy is stable. When that happens, right, remember when the body is burning calories or burning fat and it's producing ketones, we get those beta hydroxybutyrates, right? That's the stuff that gives us focus. We get BDNF, or brain-derived natriuretic factor. That's like miracle grow for the brain. So during fasting, people say, I feel more alert. I feel like I'm making connections that I didn't make before. Why? Because the brain is now supercharged. The cravings that come because insulin is spiking up and down, the cravings quiet because insulin is no longer stimulating the appetite. And because of all of that, those hormonal improvements, our mood is better. Decisions feel simpler. They're calmer. If you're not feeling this yet, it's okay. Rhythm isn't a switch for everybody. It's a partner. And for different people, depending on how you came into the fast, by the way, the process can be different. Which is why we say the balanced bites is the way we think about food is not just a fasting process. Balanced bites is how we think about food all the time. Because the food that we eat empowers us in our non-fasting window, and it has tremendous impact on us in our fasting window. Rhythm is a pattern that strengthens, that gets stronger the more we practice it. When the body becomes metabolically flexible, it's like, oh, we got this. Oh yeah, I know she's not going to eat for the next 24 hours, so we're good. It switches into ketones faster. The hormones begin coordinating more efficiently. Growth hormone comes out because this is what we do now. We don't have to think about it. The body is in a rhythm. It's in a rhythm. And that comes with practice. And so let's talk a little bit about the inner design loop. Inner design loop. So the loop is the day-to-day run sheet, if you will. So remember, we talked about anchoring, aligning, and adapting. Anchoring is, what is the thing that we put down that doesn't change? It's like an anchor in a ship. When the ship doesn't want to move, it drops an anchor. What's the thing that keeps us? Alignment is, are the behaviors that we do, are they consistent with what we say we want? And adapting, we are constantly evaluating to see where we need to make change. What's working and how do we keep that going? And what needs adjustment and how do we make that change? So that's anchor, align, and adjust and adapt. Okay? Now within that process is our smaller loop, because that big loop, anchor, align, adapt. Anchor, align, adapt. There's a smaller loop that we talk about as we go through each day. Becoming aware of what's happening around you. Being mindful. Having emotional intelligence. Understanding how your buttons can be pushed. Understanding the things around me that are going to try to pull me off of my eating plan, pull me off of my fast, pull me off of my plan to be healthy. Becoming aware. Having some intention. I am putting something in place. I'm intentionally making that decision. That leads to my behavior. Right? So awareness, the intention, the actions, my behavior, what I'm doing, is that aligning with what I say I want? And then reflecting, okay, how did today go? And then realigning, what do I need to make a change in? So here's the loop, okay? And we'll run through it tonight, we'll run through it again tomorrow. So I want you to close your eyes for a minute. And I want you to start from the top of your head, and I want you to scan all the way to your toes. Top of your head, and you're scanning. You're just thinking now. Close your eyes, close your eyes, close your eyes. You're thinking. What's present in you right now? Is there calm? Are there hunger cues? Is there some stress, some frustration? Is there focus? Is there irritation? What do you feel? Remember the COPE model, clarify, observe? We're observing now. Where am I feeling it? What am I feeling? What am I feeling? Give a name to it. We're not judging. Man, I feel I'm really hungry. Oh man, I don't know if I can make it through this fast. Oh, I don't know if I'm going to be able to go exercise tomorrow. Oh, I'm frustrated with my weight. What is going on in your mind right now? And it shows up in a different place in your body. If your head is hot, your ears are feeling warm, maybe you're upset, maybe you're angry. If your stomach is churning, maybe you're anxious. If you feel closed, maybe you're depressed. If your shoulders are burning, maybe there's some tension there. Right? Name it. And I want you to state this one line. Right? So we're going to give an attention. So we've observed what it is, right? We're aware. We're going to give an intention. I want you to say this statement. I'm fasting for blank. I'm fasting for clarity. I'm fasting for healing. I'm fasting to lower my blood sugar. I'm fasting for discipline. I'm fasting for weight loss. I'm fasting, whatever it is, I am fasting for. Because we've already seen, we've felt where we are. We've looked at our body. We've scanned it. We're aware now. And we're using fasting. Fasting is our tool. Why are you fasting? What's the intention? What's the intention? And we're going to tie that, I want to tie that to our purpose, our personal purpose. I'm doing this so I can be present for blank. Come on, come on. There's a young man growing up in my house, and I want to be present to see him enjoy there's so much that's open to him right now. His entire life is in front of him. I want to be around for that. I am doing this so I can be present for Blake. Why are you doing it? Who's your Blake? What's your Blake? So the intention. And then the action. The action, right? I want you to pick one. Pick one of these. I'm going to do 5 slow nasal breaths to reset every day. I'm going to breathe in and breathe out. I'm going to breathe in. I'm going to breathe out. Maybe you need to work on your calm. I'm going to drink 12 to 16 ounces of water with a pinch of mineral salt. Maybe you need to hydrate during the fast. I'm going to do 8 to 10 minutes of easy walking or gentle mobility. I'm going to do some stretching. I'm going to do my 5-minute circuit. Maybe you need to work on your moving. These are all rhythm actions. They stabilize the beat. They get you in the process of doing. Yeah. So I am doing this because I'm fasting for blank. So we have the awareness. We've set an intention. We've picked an action. Now we're going to reflect. And we want to reflect, and we want to ask ourselves a couple of things. I want to ask ourselves a couple of things. And you want to write these down. And I want you to think about this. What changed after that action that I took? Walking, stretching, breathing, the water. What changed? Did my energy change? Did my mood change? Did my focus change? I want you to make a quick note. So we're walking through, and this process is what you're walking through the day, right? And you can do this at any time. Do it in the morning, do it at lunch, right? And so we talk about bookending. So I do it in the morning, do it in the evening, because I'm looking to see what's going on with me. I want to be fully present, fully aware of what's happening in my life. So I'm reflecting. What changed after I did that action? And then now I'm going to realign. If hunger is loud, maybe I need to drink some electrolytes. Maybe I need to hydrate. Maybe I need to take a short walk. If my mind is busy, maybe I do 4 slow breaths. Right? Box breathing. In for 4, hold it for 4, breathe out for 4, hold it for 4, right? And do that over and over. Maybe I'll do some box breathing. If my energy is flat, maybe I stand, roll my shoulders. Maybe I sip some water. Maybe I stretch. Remember, change a muscle or move a muscle, change a thought. That's the micro loop that's within that macro loop. Remember, anchor, align, and adapt. This is a micro loop. This is what you're doing through your day. You want to run it several times between now and bedtime. Run it several times a day. You're not chasing control. You're conducting your day. You're practicing. When your biology and your behavior agree, effort becomes easier. Effort becomes easier. So what are some practical guardrails? All right, let's talk about that. Some practical guardrails. I want you to think about this as structure in motion. They're called guardrails. Remember, guardrails are those things that are in place that will prevent you from drifting too far without letting you know that something's happening. Right? So what are some guardrails? Number one, hydration. And if we're fasting right now, right? So 12 to 16 ounces of water every 90 minutes to an hour. Add some minerals to it. So don't rely on you remembering. Set an alarm. Because when we're fasting, because we're not thinking of eating, we may not even think about drinking. So set a process. Some practical guardrails. So that's your hydration rhythm. I'm going to hydrate. How about movement? Right? We all have these fancy watches now, and the watches will tell you, hey, you haven't moved for such and such a time. Right? What's your movement rhythm? 1 to 2 easy, maybe 10-minute walks. No hero workouts, just simple. Just walk down the block, walk around the office. What's your sleep rhythm? Set your off time now. I'm going to go to sleep. I'm going to shut down. Device down 60 minutes before bed. Whatever you're going to do, let's set the rhythm. So we've got a hydration rhythm. We've got a movement rhythm. We've got a sleep rhythm. How about a mindset rhythm? Here's one sentence that I want you to put in your journal. Today, my energy felt smooth when blank. Today, my energy felt smooth when blank. On my phone, I've got alarms that go off throughout the day, and it comes up with a message. Are you willing at this time to do what it takes to be successful? That's all it says. And that triggers my mind to say, okay, am I today focused on making sure that I am doing everything I can to be healthy? Do I need at this moment to take a break, do some box breathing? Do I need at this moment to take a break and just step aside from what I'm doing? So we've got hydration rhythm, we've got our movement rhythm, our sleep rhythm, and our mindset rhythm. All of that important. If we're going to be successful, then rhythm has to be where we go. You simply winging it doesn't work. You simply white knuckling it doesn't work. Right? That's not how it works. And if you try to do that, then yeah, that's why the guardrails are so important. Well, let's reflect. Did your energy, or where did your energy find its groove today? Think about your day. One line. Where did your energy find its groove today? In the kitchen? In what I was doing there? In my walking? Did I find it in a 5-minute quiet time? Where did it find its groove? And second, what small adjustment will keep that groove going tomorrow? Because remember, we're not just about doing the one-off. We want sustainable. That's what the Blueprints series is all about. The sustaining power that we need Because anybody can do something for a day, 2 days, a week, a month, a year, but is it sustainable? What small adjustment do I need to make that will keep that groove going tomorrow? That's realignment. And that's where we want to be. And then here's a fasting question. Why do energy levels fluctuate even when I'm doing everything right? Yeah. And energy levels can fluctuate for lots of different reasons. The majority of the time is because hydration and rest are not where they need to be. If we're not rested, then we feel those changes as the body goes from burning carbs to burning fat. We feel those more profoundly. And if we are not hydrated, the same thing. The body is going through these changes, and those changes require that we have fluid in the system, because everything happens as the body pumps blood throughout the system. And if we're not hydrated, then that can show up as fluctuations. But what we're looking for is the rhythm. And once we attach those rhythms, the rest and the hydration, and actually the mental mastery, the rhythm takes us and makes the flow much, much simpler. So you don't need superhuman strength. You don't need to be Superman or superhuman or superwoman. You don't need to be Wonder Woman. What you need is a structure you can trust, a plan you can follow, and the support and the desire to be successful and to show up. We'll continue our fast as we move through the rest of our fasting. We continue with our blueprints series as we work to put things in place that helps us to be successful and helps us to sustain the process. That's our goal. We'll be back. All right, so let's go ahead and let's hop over and let's say hello to some of our community members. And I see Gion that's out there, and Gion is saying, hey, doctor. Hi, LLG, Limitless Living Gang. For those of you who are new to us, I say I'm 45 hours into the fast. My goal is 48. I will break my fast after the live. Okay, awesome. LLG, let's see. It is 9:48. Okay, this is your 9th 48 hour. So Gianna is saying this is her 9th time going to 48 hours into the fast. So congratulations. A hand clap for you. And then I believe you were guessing at my for my ketones. Were you guessing, or were you just repeating what I got? And you said, wow, doctor. Let's see. I realize energy means, right. Realize that the growling means empty, not hungry, right? Growling means empty, not hungry. Let's see. I want to be free from food. Yeah, that food noise is incredible, isn't it? Kenti Juyon says nice. Sorry, Gion, Kenti saying nice. And then good to hear all this. Thank you, Kenti. Thank you for sharing. Good for you. And then Gion, smiley face. Yes, love it. And then Katrina says, how long do you suggest to start fasting the first time to set rhythm? So very good question, by the way, Katrina. So what I recommend as people are fasting is I recommend that everybody work their way up to a 24-hour period once a week. And when I say work your way up, I don't mean, this first time you're fasting and do 24. Wherever you are right now, because most of us will do a non-eating period, 6, 7, 8 hours because we're sleeping. All right, that's the first thing. And so most people say, well, I can't not eat. Well, you're already doing it 7 to 8 hours, depending on how long you're sleeping. And then most people actually don't eat breakfast. Right? So if you don't eat breakfast right now, you're probably going for a good 8 or 9, maybe 10 hours without eating. And so what we start to do is we start to extend that. So if you sleep for 8 hours, then say, okay, I'm not going to eat breakfast at whatever time you normally eat breakfast. Let's walk through it together. So you stop eating at 9 o'clock at night, 9 to 6 in the morning, right? That's 9 hours. Okay, it's 9 hours. Let's make that the case just for the math. And so when you wake up in the morning, if you say, well, I'm not going to eat, you wake up at 6 o'clock. I'm not going to eat at 6 o'clock. I'm going to extend that 2 hours. So 9, 10, 11. So you've gone 11 hours without eating. And then you add another hour, so now you've gone 12. And now you say, okay, I'm not going to eat. I'm going to stop eating at 9 o'clock at night. I'm not going to eat breakfast in the morning at 6 o'clock. I'm going to eat my breakfast at 9 a.m. So now you've gone 12 hours. Okay? And that's the 12 and 12. And then you just kind of shrink the eating window to smaller and smaller and smaller until you get to 24. So that's the recommendation. And for most people, if you're on a regular schedule, I usually recommend that you start fasting actually at night. Because by the time you've waken up, or by the time you get up in the morning, you've already gone your 7 to 8 hours. But if you start in the morning, then the brain plays a trick on us because the brain says, oh my goodness, I've got another whatever number of hours before I can eat again. Okay? So very good question. Very good question. Let's see. Let's get back up here. So Gion says she was guessing my ketones. And she said no sound. Is the sound? Hopefully you guys are hearing me back again. So no sound. Says sorry, sound is back. Okay. Yes, I'm accustomed to doing 24 hours fast. Are you saying no food, just water? And so we do our fasting is a no calorie fast. Meaning that you can drink liquids, water, and I do, let's see, do I have anything here? No. So I usually do 0 sugar beverages. Okay? That's my thing. That's my thing. 0 sugar beverages. There are lots of conversations, there are lots of comments about those, but we're not doing any calories. One of the things that I've said that people can do if they have to, because a lot of people can't get through the morning without coffee. So if you're going to drink coffee, it should be black coffee. It shouldn't be any cream in it. But yeah, so we're doing a 24-hour fast, no calorie containing liquids or food. You can drink water. You can do green teas. You can do black coffee. Those types of things should work. Okay. And then just to add another component of that, so at least 24 hours is what we're talking about. As you see in the community, we've got folks who are doing 45 hours. I do a 72-hour fast once a week, and that's because of metabolic issues that I am working on personally, and I share those in some of the shows that we've done. If you've not seen our show where we did the review of my labs, that would be a good one for you to go back and watch. These are actually my labs when I went to see my doctor. Let's see. Kenty says, you're getting ketones right every time. This is some sign. Yeah, Gianna seems to be getting those. You're right, Kenty. Says, sound didn't go away for me. That's good. Katrina says, got it. Thank you. I do feel better when I do it. Oh, yeah, fasting is amazing. Right, so once again, part of it is that constant energy source that's coming from the ketones that are coming from the fat burning. So yeah, it is an amazing place to be. In fact, I'm trying to think. Several months ago, I was at the 72 hour, and I think I extended the fast, and it was like this euphoric thing that came over me. I came on the show, and I was just pumped. It was like I was hardwired, like somebody had plugged me into a socket with all the energy that was coming out. And then let's see, Gian says, on the roll means I didn't get in English. Let's see. I think did I miss something up here? Gian, I'm not sure what you're referring to right there. You've got it 4 times right. Oh, okay. Yeah. So he was saying that you got it multiple times correct, Gian, is what he was saying there. Gian said, thank you. It makes me move. Blah, 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 blah. No easy task. Nice. Yeah, it's just everyone just being, just commenting on each other. So amazing. All right. So everybody, so remember our Triple E formula for success says that we educate, we empower. Or I educate, I empower, and I encourage. Educate with the shows, with the blogs, with the podcast. We empower with the tools that we learn, right? The COPE model, the HEAT model, the health action plan. All of those are tools that allows us to put the things that we learn into practice. The education component is designed to help you understand how your body works, help you to understand how things can change, help you to understand what you can do to begin righting your metabolism. That's the education. The encouragement is to put those things into practice. What are the actual physical tools? What are the practical things that we can do to implement the things we're learning? And the community comes with the encouragement. This community that you are part of, that you're helping to grow, helping to build. We have people who are having amazing results. If you were on earlier today, you saw one of our community members talking about what the benefits his wife was getting in the program. So you want to make sure that you are in community. You can do things by yourself. There's nothing wrong with doing anything by yourself. But if you want to have sustained change, you got to be in community. So make sure that you're not negating that. And when you show up, tell your story. Right? Whatever successes you're having, wherever you're having challenges, because your story, your question, your challenge, whatever you're doing is probably just the right question that somebody else has. And your story, your journey, however dysfunctional, however rocky, however up and down, all of that, those are places where people are having questions, and you can help them to be successful. Okay? So we educate, we empower, and we encourage. Now, I just, as I'm looking, there was something I was supposed to do, which I didn't do, so let me do that right now. Let me grab my phone. And I promised someone earlier that I was going to show this. So here is, if you're still on, if not, you can watch this on the replay. Let's see, where is it? And this is let's hop over here. This is my weight graph. Okay, so this is my weight graph, and you see there 186 pounds. And if I go back and look at the trends, let's look at the years. And so in this app, I don't have my highest weight. The highest weight that I have in this one is the 260 pounds, which was right there. 260 pounds. A little over, let's see, a little over 3 years ago, right? And so you'll see the journey there is not a linear one. So we were up and then we're down, and we continue going down. We went up, went down, went up, went down. And what I want you to notice is that the general trend is in a downward direction, okay? But there we are at 260 pounds, and then, right, so you see all those fluctuations in there, and then where we are right now at 186 pounds, 186.2. So the pathway, the process, we're not looking for quick fix. Now, if we get quick fix and it's sustained, love it. But we don't want unsustained quick fixes, right? We want to have something that is working and something that's going to be consistent over time. Now, we will be back as we do our pop-up tomorrow at 48 hours. So join us for that in the afternoon. And then we'll be back here for 56-hour check-in as we continue this week's fast. If you are in the fast right now, hand clap and music. Kudos to you, and a shout out to those of you who ended our fast today when we did our pop-up, because you started your fast yesterday, you ended it today for 24 hours. Those of you who started today are going to end tomorrow. Shout out to you, and then we'll talk to those who are actually going to be picking up tomorrow and going into the third day. And if you are fasting for more than a 24-hour period, go ahead and put a T, right? So total. Put that in the chat because I want to give you a special shout out. What I didn't say was a special welcome to our Accelerator members. For those of you who are out there, thank you for coming through and hanging out with us. And then for those of you who are joining us because you saw our content either at your church, your doctor's office, special shout out to our folks in Atlanta Berean, and our folks in Nashville, the Nashville Riverside, Riverside Nashville Church. And for those of you who are from the Magazine Street Church in Louisville, Kentucky, welcome to our show, and thank you for coming through and joining with us. We look forward to seeing you. We've got our shows for the rest of this week. On Friday, we'll do our complete check-in where we talk about preparing for the fast, getting through the fast successfully, and breaking the fast. You get to see what I eat for the first time after 72 hours. On Saturday night, we've got our video from the vault at 9 p.m. Central. Sunday morning, This Week in Review, 6 a.m. Central, and then we'll be right back here on Monday next week at 7 p.m. Central right here on Dwain Woode MD as we talk about how we continue improving our metabolism. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at that MOVE campaign promo, and then we'll be out of here. Good night, everybody. This is Dr. Dwain Woode. That's Wood with an E. The E stands for endocrinology. I educate, I empower, and I encourage you to take charge of your health and your life. Avoid complications. Go to the next level. We're creating the life we've always wanted. We are in the process of helping you to live a long, healthy life. You don't need to have superhuman strength. You don't need superhuman power. What you need is a strategy you can trust, a plan you can follow, and the support and the desire to keep showing up. We look forward to seeing you in the community. Here we go. Here's the MOVE campaign. Welcome to MOVE, Metabolic Optimization via Exercise. This isn't just about workouts. It's about moving your body, moving your habits, and moving your life forward. Each episode builds consistency, strength, and resilience step by step. I'm Dr. Dwain Woode, and together we're writing the story of health, transformation, and limitless living. This is MOVE. Let's get started.